Jesus, boys, girls, in-betweeners, welcome back. Red Gambit here with Nairman, and we've been away for 3 weeks, I guess, now? Was
About
it three
that, yeah.
weeks?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem with E3 and then running right into computer problems.
And you went to a convention as well in that interim last week, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, anything exciting there? Anything noteworthy? Anything fun? Wonderful?
Old games are getting more and more expensive.
Did you buy a bunch or what?
Nope.
You just looked at them longingly and went, I
I,
remember
I
when
mean,
I used to play
at this
that.
point, I'm glad I didn't, considering what I just had to do for my computer.
We're not going to talk about that. It's not
Yes.
interesting. Um, you just reminisce about the days when you were a young man. You could play all these games on your NES and your PlayStation
I still
or
have my
whatever.
Super Nintendo and stuff, so, yeah.
You've got the inferior purple one.
What, the GameCube?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
the Super
no.
Nintendo, yeah.
The Super Nintendo, yeah. Like there was the US version and then there was the European version, which was way more colorful for no fucking reason. It didn't look like a little
Because
like, purple lunchbox.
it was based off of the Super Famicom in Japan.
Yeah, so.
I prefer the purple one anyway, by the way, so
Well, I prefer the Super Famicom one.
whatever.
It doesn't look like a little purple lunchbox.
Eh.
Anyway, well, since we're talking about the SNES, we may as well jump into that topic first. So, a couple of days ago, we got the, well, not entirely surprising, but still pretty neat announcement that Nintendo obviously canceled the production of the NES Mini so they could then announce the SNES Mini, which is going to be available this holidays for all your purchasing pleasure, with 20 games included inside it, including the unreleased Star Fox 2. So, let's jump into what your thoughts on that are, man.
This wasn't a surprise at all, and let's hope they make more than 10 this time.
They'll make just enough to have a huge shortage of it, and then next year we'll get the N64 Mini.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, ultimately, everyone kind of saw this coming, and it's just a matter of, kind of like the Switch and other things, will they make enough of the actual thing for it to be worth it?
Yeah, because I was never really particularly interested in the NES Mini because didn't really have a fond attachment to the NES.
And the thing,
Yeah,
and the weird thing about the NES is that ultimately a lot of the games on it haven't aged very well.
yeah, exactly, and that doesn't really do a lot for me. Whereas like the SNES, even though I didn't have one as a kid because my parents wouldn't let me have a console, I did sleep over at a friend's place a lot who did have a SNES. So I have many fond memories of staying up late at night playing Street Fighter 2 and Mario Kart and other things like that. So I would actually be quite interested if I wasn't homeless and didn't have a job to be able to buy one of those when it comes out. So it's something that I'm definitely more interested in. But that said, what do you think about the lineup of games they announced for it beyond Star Fox 2?
It's one of those things where it's a weird situation where the Super Nintendo is, yeah, I mean, it's bad games, but like most of its well-known library are bona fide classics. Like
Yeah.
like almost everything on there holds up well today.
But two Kirby games?
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
You're just talking about how they're all bona fide classics, and you're like, yeah, it's actually a problem.
Well, no, they need to be a bit more variety in the classics that they do have. I mean, you put Star Fox on there. I mean, the weird thing is that ultimately the original Star Fox, and kind of by extension, obviously we haven't played it, Star Fox 2, haven't aged very well for obvious reasons.
Well, the reason they didn't even release Star Fox 2 in the first place was because by that stage the Sony PlayStation had come out and they felt like it would have really dated the game by holding it as a comparison to what the PlayStation was capable of.
Exactly. The PlayStation and Sega Saturn were already out, and at that time they looked significantly better in every way, so they didn't want to look dated and stuffy and all that, so they preferred to just scrap the project, even though it was like 80 to 90% done. And
I think it was actually totally done, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, and then just basically remake the game from the ground up for the N64, which is why we got Star Fox 64 in '97.
Yeah. So, have you actually played Star Fox 2? Because I think there was like the full ROM was available online, wasn't it?
There's ROMs available, and I know my friend John has a reproduction card to play it on a Super Nintendo, and it's weird. It takes a lot of ideas that they would later reuse for Star Fox Zero, such as the Walker and more free roaming stuff. And it's one of those, again, it's a problem with the hardware. The game just can't run very well.
So, you're obviously looking at a lot of frame rate dips and whatnot, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the original Star Fox on Super Nintendo was designed with the lag in mind. You can't overclock.
Yeah.
You can't overclock this game in ROM and play it in quote unquote real time, and it's virtually unplayable.
Nice. So, well, at least in this instance, it should hopefully run properly.
Yes, it should run properly. It's just a matter of, is the game good enough to warrant actually playing?
Yeah, well, I suppose. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously you'll have those Nintendo hardcore fans who, even if they have played the busted version which you're talking about, will probably be very excited to have a quote-unquote official version which will run properly and, be the game that they never received. I can see the excitement in that.
Yeah, definitely, because that was kind of the reaction when they announced it, like yesterday or the other day, depending on timing and all that, was, a lot of the initial reaction was, NES Mini, they couldn't keep it with demand. It's way too hard to get. I'm not going to bother because everything's ROMable. Oh, by the way, we're finishing Star Fox 2. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a good hook to really put in there. It's a good marketing choice.
Yeah, it's at least something to make it worthwhile as a whole, and not just, oh, look at these things you could put on your, easily modifiable phone or calculator, or whatever these days.
Yeah. Let's hope this time as well that the cord is more than, 3 feet long?
They said the Super Nintendo controllers are going to be 5 feet long.
Okay, well that's at least relatively decent this time, I suppose, because I heard that was a big problem with the NES Mini as well.
Yeah, the controllers were 2 feet long or something, and you could barely do anything with it.
You just have your corneas seared by sitting so close to the TV.
Hey kids, be sure to watch the TV in a bright lit room and a good enough distance away, unless you're playing the NES Mini, in which case go right the fuck up there.
I'm blind!
Turns on Electric's Warrior Porygon.
Alright, fair enough. So let's move on from there. I don't think there's really too much else to say there. And go on to... Let's go to the post-E3. It's been a couple of weeks since E3 finished. We've had a chance to really kind of absorb what came out of that. And I don't know whether it's because, at least speaking for myself, that I'm getting older, I'm getting more cynical in the process. But really my takeaway from E3 from this year was a very big, hefty bag of meh.
That was everyone's general reactions to it, aside from a smattering of a few things such as, Dragon Ball, Mario Odyssey, and such.
Yeah.
The general consensus was this was a very dull year.
Yeah, it was a very underwhelming year. We didn't really see any big surprises or anything else. I mean, probably one of the biggest surprises was the fact that Skyrim's just going to run on fucking everything now. So we have that to look forward to.
Are we ever going to get Elder Scrolls 6 at this point?
It's literally going to be on every single fucking console, every single portable device.
They're gunning for that Rayman 2.
It'll run in your fridge, it'll run in your microwave, it'll run in your car, it'll be on everything.
Yeah, they're running for that Rayman 2 ported on everything record.
Exactly, yeah. So, aside from that, I mean, I didn't watch all the press conferences. The only press conference I did actually watch was Sony. I missed the others. I heard that
Sony's was a big pile of okay. The problem was that 90% of their conference was stuff they did last year, and most of the interesting stuff is coming out till next year. So,
well, I suppose the interesting things from Sony's, at least, since that's the one that I can really talk about, is that they were not pushing VR at all. Really, there was one game that they showcased, which, let's be honest, looked pretty fucking unimpressive. It was you get to play a swirly guiding a mouse around, and that's fucking it. And that makes me afraid.
You don't want to play Noctis' Big Fishing Adventure 3?
God. I immediately thought of Sega Bass Fishing. I'm like, yes, it's back!
We gotta catch Froggy.
Beg the cat, beg the cat.
What am I gonna do now?
So that aside, it makes me afraid. It makes me very afraid for the future of VR because I was very concerned. A year or two ago, there was a very big hullabaloo around the Oculus, around the PlayStation VR, around everything else. That was going to be the VR was going to be the next big evolution, and that hasn't really come to pass. And that's not really surprising because obviously VR is a very big investment on the part of the consumer, and it's a very big investment on the part of the developer because they need to develop games that are specifically designed for that platform. And I was really hoping that Sony, considering that they have the hardware. The hardware is right there. So you really only have to buy the helmet, which is still a significant investment of $300 or $400, whatever it costs. But they would be the ones to really champion it and drive it because they would be able to do it first party. They'll be able to do it properly, and they'd be able to really show what it could do. And this year they're not pushing that at all, which makes me, as I said, afraid because if VR fails now, it won't come back. Last time that VR was a big deal was in the mid-90s with fucking Lawnmower Man. That was the only time that people gave a shit about VR. Exactly, yeah. So it'll be another 20 fucking years before people consider trying VR again, which I really don't want to wait for.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the price thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just very concerned this is going to go the way of 3D televisions and the Kinect and other things like that,
Well,
which
the
were
interesting
a
thing is
neat
that there is
idea.
still stuff for it. Like at the
Yeah,
Bethesda conference, they did say, oh, we're going to make Doom and Fallout for VR, which, cool. Those are legit, high profile names and hopefully full experiences. Even if it is just a Doom quote unquote mod of the last year's game just for VR, that'd still be something.
yeah. I mean,
It's just a matter of, again, you have to make it cheap enough to warrant it. Because
the
unless you
thing is
want to
though, is
start
that
when you start doing it by itself, which again, then you run into the problem that there'll be enough games to support it by itself.
is that going to really set the world on fire though? Because I don't think that it is. Yeah, we need. There hasn't been a killer app for VR aside from Resident Evil 7, which I mean looks fantastic in VR. I don't get the hover, like the floating hands thing. I don't know why you can't have them connected to a body. I don't understand that, but apparently you can't.
That's from what I understand, just to help you orient yourself.
I can't say I've played a game that has the hovering hands, but it looks weird watching it on the screen. But anyway, that's not
Yeah.
even on there. Like that's like the one game where you go like, fuck yes, this works really good in VR. Like I haven't played in VR, but I look at people playing it, and it's like I don't know if I'd be able to like tolerate the pants shitting terror that game would bring to me.
Yeah. The
But
other
aside
issue
from
the other
that,
issue is that ultimately, as we saw with the mouse game, is that I forget which one also had it, but they had like a 2D Metroidvania sort of thing in VR. It's one of those VR isn't needed for a lot of genres,
I don't
which
know.
which
I
limits
think
it.
that it could work in anything that's primarily first person or
Yeah,
or
but
third.
that's the thing. How do you make it work for Mario Odyssey or something?
Well, it doesn't need to work for everything. It doesn't need to be the next big step, but I think that it can certainly be
Then
something
you have
that.
to ask people. Then people have to ask why get it if it's only going to be immersive for certain genres.
Well, like I said, it's got to have the killer apps. It's got to have the games that make you want to play it, and that's my point. Is that by like Bethesda's like going, oh, we're going to release Skyrim, we're going to release Doom, we're going to release Fallout. Fucking great, but make it a new one. Don't make it a game that's been out for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years,
6 years.
6 years, exactly. So that's what that's what I don't like about it because I don't think aside from people who already own the tech and had just have it sitting around gathering dust because there hasn't been anything to fucking play on it, who else is going to buy it? There's not going to be anyone who's going to go out and buy a 3D helmet for a game that they probably already own at this point.
Yeah, that's a self-fulfilling loop right there, though.
Exactly. So that's my concern. I think that if 3D isn't going to just like fade away, we really need to see some of those like new games being developed that have like Resident Evil 7 had that 3D option. It was like, well, I say 3D, I mean VR. It had that VR option. It wasn't like this game has to be exclusively VR. You can buy a copy of it and play it without the VR, but if you have a headset, you can play it with it and just have that built into more games coming out.
That, or you need to find some way to bundle it with everything, with like the console or a PC or something.
That didn't work. That did not do wonders for the Kinect at all.
No, I know, but that's just a matter of you have to somehow get it into people's hands.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
And that's maybe not the VR part, but that's what consoles used to do. Is that back in the old days, your Super Nintendo would come with Super Mario World. Your Sega Genesis would come with Sonic the Hedgehog. It would come
maybe
with
if it's
something
like,
to really make you get your hands on it.
yeah, I mean, maybe you could bundle it with the helmets. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. Moving on from there. The rest of Sony's conference I found pretty fucking underwhelming. We got to see we got to see the game that BioWare fucked Mass Effect over for,
That,
which is honestly so forgettable. I can't even remember the fucking name of it.
yeah, I can't remember it either, but it was I just always refer to it as the Iron Man game because that's basically what it looks like. What you're doing when you're flying around like that.
It's basically it looks like. I mean, keeping in mind this is the game which, as I said, they fucked over Mass Effect 4. They gave Mass Effect to their B team of programmers and designers and developers in order to work on this game. And like, while it looks graphically, it looks fantastic. Gameplay wise, it looks like they just looked at Destiny and said, "That's making a shit ton of money. We should get in on that."
Yeah. Also, it was heavily scripted, so I'm not putting a lot of money on it actually looking that good when it comes out.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen far too many examples of games just looking fucking amazing and then receiving massive graphical downgrades when they actually get released.
Ubisoft.
That's been Ubisoft, as Jim Sterling would say. Yeah, it's very like that's, and as you said, that's good reason to not get excited about it, because that will probably be the case, especially if you don't own,
The
the new versions of the
XBOX6.
yeah, exactly, the XBOX or the PS4 Pro. So that's going to be, yeah, a big fucking problem there as well. Yeah, I think that Lau McDouchebag put it. Who's another YouTuber, put it pretty well, that he would like to see that it knocked Destiny off its throne, which it only got for being the first game to get there in the first place. That it never really earned that title of being like a good online MMO shooter kind of game, which I'm fine with. But as you said, it looks very, it was heavily scripted. The voiceover conversation between the players was just,
you mean the obvious gamer chat?
the obvious gamer channel here, the scripted marketing gamer bullshit. It's like, I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, I haven't heard one racist or homophobic slur. This can't be real.
Or tons of swearing, because there's no way you just randomly pick up a legendary weapon like that. You get the same comment you've gotten 50 times already, and everyone just goes, well, fuck, I'm just going to have to fucking sell this shit again.
Or someone telling the chick to get the fuck out. So, yeah, these are all things that ruin the credibility of it.
Yep. Thankfully, most of the rest of E3 got rid of that after everyone kind of called them out on it for a few years in a row.
Yeah. I think the Spider-Man...
you mean
Spider-Man...
you mean Spider-Man New Arkham City?
No, well, the funny part was, it actually reminded me way more of like the older Spider-Man games, because I'm like one of those idiots who... I rented out the Spider-Man 3 movie game when it came out, and that game had the worst fucking quick times that you'd ever seen.
Oh, you mean the one that's the one where you press the wrong button when he dives, jumps forward, and then just
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what, like, at any point in a quick time event, you press the wrong button, and keep in mind you had probably half a second to a second at most to press the fucking button. There was no time to press the interactions, and every single time you would die if you got it wrong. And the final battle in that game was so obnoxious, I had to die so many times that I had the sequence of buttons memorized, because there was no way you could do it by actual reflexes.
Yeah, that was my biggest worry seeing the game. It's like, combat and kind of stealth-wise, it looked exactly kind of like Arkham, which, again, is fine,
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to see Marvel copying DC for once, but... It's one of those, okay, that's fine, it's a system that works perfectly fine and people enjoy it, no reason to stray too far from it, just, make it a bit more suited to the character. But then they go to the helicopter stuff, and it's all quick time events, and it's like, dude, we got rid of these for a reason.
Yeah, quick time events are very 2008. That said, I still think it looks fun. I think that I actually went back very recently, a few days ago, and played through Spider-Man Web of Shadows again. And like, there's just something about just web swinging around a city when it's done well, which is just really fun.
And that's why everyone loves Spider-Man 2.
Exactly. It's like, that's like, if you can nail that particular part of a Spider-Man game, half your work's done already.
Yeah, so, you can have slightly clunky controls and for the combat and still be fine.
Yeah, as long as the web swinging is fun, that's really like the biggest part of the game. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think that hopefully it'll have that down. The combat looks fun, as you said. It does look Arkham City-ish a bit. They tried that before with the Spider-Man movie games, which were just fucking awful. That was an instance where web swinging did not save the game at all.
Nope.
But like I said, it's been done well in other games, so hopefully this one will go well.
I'm still definitely going to pick it up. It's just a matter of will it really be early 2018 or like later 2018?
Pretty much. Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Okay. First off, saying fuck a lot does not make you cool or mature, Ubisoft. The other thing is that they confirmed very early on, like in that actual press show, that it's a prequel before Jade's even born. So you basically screwed over all the fans who have been waiting 15-ish years to finish out, to figure out what the hell was going on with these characters, the situation, the plot, and all that. You're just going to say, nope, we're not touching any of that.
Yeah.
Which to me kind of defeats the purpose of making a Beyond Good and Evil 2 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it, I'm like, okay, well, it's CG, so, no game, no hype there. But that aside, it had like a very kind of Fifth Element vibe about it, which I thought was like really good. Because, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah. And,
it looked good, but that said, like the animations were done really well, all that sort of thing, but again, CG doesn't matter. In the subsequent screenshots and little clips that they've released from the game since then that actually show the in-game, they only show you playing the monkey in the game, and that to me is like any game that I play, I have to play a character who is either sexy or cool, and a monkey does not fulfill either of those roles.
Especially when he's shouting fuck all the time.
Exactly. So if the game is just playing the monkey, probably going to give that a pass.
We'll have to wait and see more on that, because I'm sure he won't be the only playable character, but we'll see.
Yeah. Let's hope not. So that's my thoughts on the Sony press conference. They showed a trailer for Marvel's Capcom Infinite 2, which I've already torn apart on my channel.
Yep.
The TLDR is that the faces look fucking terrible, the animation looks terrible.
And just like that, Thanos got more screen time in this one trailer than he has the entire MCU so far.
Yeah, and it's become blatantly obvious at this point. And ever since the game was announced, people were concerned that the MCU was going to have a big influence in the game in terms of like roster selection.
And it has the entirety of the roster selection.
Exactly, and now this is just confirmed that the entire roster is going to be nothing but characters that are appearing in MCU movies. And so fuck your Fantastic Four, fuck your X-Men, fuck any character not in the MCU.
Yeah, and they're only probably going to add Spider-Man because Sony's playing nice.
Hopefully, but I mean, the rumors are that that Venom will be the first DLC character. But even then, it's just the problem with the MCU, and this is going off a little bit of a tangent, is even as a Marvel fan, a lot of the characters in there, in my opinion, are pretty fucking B-list characters. They're characters that people don't particularly like, and they're trying really hard to build them up into characters that people will like. But before Captain America: Civil War, no one gave a fuck about Black Panther. No one gave a fuck about whoever that black guy is who flies around in the wings and shit. No one gave a shit about Ant-Man. Yeah, no one gave a shit about a lot of these characters, and no one gave a shit about the Guardians of the Galaxy. And granted, with Guardians of the Galaxy
was only saved because of its soundtrack.
Pretty much, and the fact that James Gunn's a pretty good director. But my point is that those characters might you may be able to build them into decent characters for a movie, maybe not, depending on what you think. But they're still not going to translate very well to a video game because they're just not that fucking interesting, visually or aesthetically. So
yeah, I mean,
that's
Black Panther is just a guy in a rubber black suit.
Exactly, he's like Batman without the money.
Well, no, he has lots of money, but
well, not as much, but whatever. Without all the cool gadgets, then fine, whatever. Yeah. It's just Hawkman. He shoots arrows. Who gives a shit? No, Hawkeye, not Hawkman. Hawkman was the black guy, right? I don't know.
No, the Falcon is the black guy who has the
Falcon.
big wings.
Yes, thank you.
Hawkman is a DC character that they never use because his power set is boring.
Okay, fine, fair enough. So yeah, that's kind of like slash rant over. That's kind of my thoughts on Marvel's Capcom Infinite.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to add there.
No, just that. When's Dragon Ball?
Let's get to that in a second. Just going over the other press conferences. Xbox, not much to talk about there. I mean, sports, from what I saw.
For me, and
sports and cars.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the second half, once Dragon Ball Z showed up, Xbox actually did pretty damn well for a good 45 minutes. But a lot of the
for a sweet 45 minutes there, they were actually doing something right.
Yeah, but then everything before that was so been there, done that, and then just the whole Xbox One X. Ugh.
Yeah. I think the funny thing about the sports and cars thing was that everyone was predicting that, and everyone was like, if that's what they do, we're not going to really give a shit, and that's exactly what they went ahead and did anyway.
Yeah, and I love how they started the whole thing after talking about the X. It was, here's our new Forza game, and here's this unveil of this brand new car that none of you watching or in the audience will ever be able to afford.
It's like, here's a real car that's going to be in the game. Who gives a shit? It's a fucking if this was an auto trade show, maybe we would care. But it's not. It's about the games.
A car built for Homer. This thing costs $80,000. Hey, I would have been hyped if they showed that car.
That would have actually been pretty cool. All right, Nintendo. Well, I mean, there's really only one game to talk about for the most part with Nintendo. That's Super Mario Odyssey.
So that's where all the creativity and effort in the last couple of Mario games went to.
What do you think about his soul invading Cap?
It's called Capture.
Capture with Cappy, wasn't that his name?
Cappy's his name. Yes.
So what do you think about the Capture?
That's a really cool idea, because it lets you kind of temporarily just use other abilities. It lets you have power-ups without having to make power-ups.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really excited. This game looks really good.
Yeah, okay. When's it coming out?
October 27th, so exactly 4 months from this time of recording.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a Mario game. It looks, it has all those neat animations and quirks and whatnot that people tend to like from the Mario games. So
You can wear
great for that.
NES Golf Mario, also known as
Yeah,
America Mario. Living in
America.
America.
Fair enough there. Yeah, I mean, I think the cat mechanic's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how far they go with that. You were talking, I know we were talking about that a few days ago, or you were concerned that they would kind of be limiting in terms of what you could do that with it in terms of like how PC Mario, they want Mario to be with it.
Yeah, but again, we'll have to see, considering, there's a lot of situations you could do or you could not do. Again, we've only seen like standard demo stuff, so we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so make of that what you will. Yeah, we had Splatoon, we had ARMS. Any thoughts about those kind of games?
ARMS is already out, and I don't care.
It is already out. I don't think really many people care about it.
No, everyone's just like, okay, that's neat. I'm just going to wait an extra month for Splatoon.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the interesting thing, I suppose, is that we were talking about, before we got into the podcast, we were talking about Smash for a different video that I want to do. And Smash has, even up until very recently, and continues to be, very much the redheaded stepchild for Nintendo in that they don't want to ever push it as a competitive game. Reggie Fils-Aimé has gone on to say that they want Smash tournaments to be a very grassroots movement.
Which means they don't give a shit.
Which means they just want to stay as far the fuck away from that as possible because it's competitive and Nintendo does not like to be competitive. That said, they go and hold a ARMS tournament at E3.
They held an ARMS, Splatoon, and Pokemon DX tournament.
Exactly. So two of those games are fighting games, which by nature are quite competitive and skill based, and not the kind of fun that they usually tout.
Yeah, the difference here is that those aren't long-lasting. Well, I don't say long-lasting. They've been long-standing games that have been in really high-profile other tournaments. So these are ones they can very strictly control, unlike Smash Brothers, which is too far out of the box for them to reel back in. Which I think is the thing.
How do you mean that? How do you mean control, though? That's what I kind of find interesting here.
They can do everything first. They can kind of set the rules, considering they haven't really been a thing for a while.
So
they can set their own terms on how other places can do it. Otherwise, they can, drop the ban hammer or whatever. Meanwhile, when they tried to get Melee pulled, it was such a staple of EVO or other high-profile tournaments, or just a competitive thing in general. The entire backlash was so hard they had to backtrack on it.
Do you think this means that they will, given that Nintendo's always tried to back away from esports and tried to be very separate to that, obviously they have an interest in esports now with games like Splatoon and potentially with ARMS. Do you think they're going to, and I'm saying that based purely on their own promotional materials where they've shown, without hyping the Switch in the first place, they were showing these mythical Splatoon tournaments and whatnot that people will be participating in. Do you think that shows with this tournament that they have at E3 that they're taking their first tentative steps into that world?
Potentially. Again, I think it depends on how much control are they going to try to push on it.
Fair enough. Well, yes, time will tell on that one. Yeah, okay, well, I think that really covers it for E3. Was there anything else from that really, for the conference in general, that gave you any hype bonus for anything?
Hey, we got another Metroid 2 remake.
That's right, we got a big, slow fade to Metroid 4.
Metroid Prime 4, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And the internet went wild.
Yeah, no game, no hype, those are the rules.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those. It's a weird situation where for a couple, 2 or 3 years now, Reggie kept saying in interviews whenever anyone would ask him on Metroid is, "We hear you," and then never elaborate on that. So it kind of became a thing where everyone was getting really annoyed at Reggie for never saying anything. And then last year, when AM2R finally came out, after 6+ years of development, they immediately strike it down. It kind of became you had to do something with Metroid. Right now. Otherwise, you look like massive shitholes to everyone.
Fair enough. Alright, well, moving away from that, so let's talk about Dragon Ball FighterZ. This was kind of probably one of the biggest surprises of the conference because it was leaked a day or two before it was officially announced.
Yeah, but it was just promotional images.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a Famitsu, poor scan of a Famitsu article, or actually it wasn't even that. I think it was a design document, but something like that. So it still kind of came pretty much out of the blue. When we finally got to see the footage, and like it immediately got everyone very excited, not just because it looked like a good game. It's developed by the same guys who made Guilty Gear, which is a fantastic looking game.
Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue.
Exactly, yeah. So aside from the fact that like it's got like this pedigree behind it, because it's like a very Marvel vs. Capcom-esque game in terms of design, it immediately gave everyone an excuse who's been kicking the dog for Capcom Infinite to really stick their boots in and go, okay, here's like the kind of game that we wanted, as opposed to what you're giving us.
Yeah, that was like my ultimate kind of Schadenfreude, I guess is the way to put it, kind of as a DC fan. Not that I dislike Marvel vs. Capcom games. I played the shit out of them in arcades back in the day, and it wasn't so much the game with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it was just the way Capcom handled it. So it was just one of those, something I really love is clearly the better game right now, and Marvel's kind of getting shit on for once.
Fair enough. As opposed to like Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the surprising thing there, I suppose. That said, I mean, I've seen, there's been too many Dragon Ball games over the years for me to get super excited about this. I mean, we just came off Xenoverse 2.
Well, this is a straight up 2D fighting game versus the Tenkaichi's last Xenoverse, slightly more RPG-ish or slightly more 3D kind of beat 'em up stuff.
True, yes, but there have been a lot of Dragon Ball fighting games in the past as well.
Yes, but the last like 2D one we got in any sort of style was Budokai 3, and that was on the PlayStation 2. So.
Yeah, fair enough. That said, we are going to go into much more of a kind of in-depth discussion about
Red's channel, which I have linked in the description.
Well, that's right, yeah. So I was going to get to that. Thank you for cutting me off. We're going to talk about the characters. Trunks has just been revealed for the game. Future Trunks. We're going to talk about the roster, what we'd like to see in terms of characters coming up, and what we think about the characters who have already been announced, things like that. So if you want to hear a couple of Dragon Ball nerds just really go at it about the game, there's a link in the description below, as Nayman was pointing out. Head over to my channel, and that should be up around the same time this video goes up. If not, just wait a day or two.
Yep.
But it'll be there. Trust me. So yeah. That's that. Was there anything else we want to talk about in terms of gaming? Oh yeah. Well, we've already talked about that. There's the MVC. There's a demo for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but it was
I hear it was very lackluster.
It was very lackluster because it was just like a really early part of the story, and you were only allowed to fight against bots, and it only really made people feel worse about the facial animations and whatnot.
Have you seen the image with the Tekken 2 box art, and they put Dante on it, and it looks no different than the actual on there?
Yeah. I've seen all the memes. Trust me. You can throw that into the video if you want, though.
Sure.
I think the final thing to talk about is Dragon Ball Super and the proverbial fireworks factory.
We finally get to the fireworks factory.
So if you've been watching Nayman's Twitter over the weeks, with every subsequent episode where the Z Fighters, if you like the American version, hadn't actually arrived at the tournament yet, Nayman would post another complaint that they had not yet made it to the fireworks factory.
When are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
Yes. So they still haven't actually started the tournament.
But they arrived there, which means they have to start it next episode / this weekend. So
they do. My immediate thoughts is that like Goku is now. I think we have like canon confirmation that Goku was genuinely retarded at this point now, because he was actually sitting there counting on his fingers, trying to figure out like a basic mathematical equation. I think like part of like Gohan was just dying as he watched his father figure that out. Aside from that, and as I said to Nayman before, they just really use the episode to hype up how powerful Purple Guy is. We've seen the intro like 5 bajillion times now. So,
yep.
Mysterious purple guy with black eyes and a red suit. He's got to be super powerful because he didn't have to dodge the bricks.
Yep.
Those bricks could have been dodged, but he chose not to.
Yep, and we all know it. I mean, the journey there can still be interesting, but we all know it's going to turn out to be a one-on-one of Goku v. him.
Yeah, no question about that. Frieza's wasting time masturbating with himself.
Yeah, with Frost.
It's just like I'm like looking at it, it's like, well, you guys are still on teams from different universes, so you can team up all you want, but eventually you're gonna have to fight each other.
Is that masturbation or just doing yourself?
That's it. Reminds me of a Cracked article. There's an article in Cracked like a few years ago, which is like, if you were trapped in a room with your clone for 5 minutes and no one would ever know what happened, would you fight or fuck?
Huh.
That's kind of. I think that's the dilemma that Frieza is given right now.
Kinda, yeah.
So I guess we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, there's no real surprises. It's just yeah, I mean,
Just wanted to
I hate
just
this
wanted to
fucking.
say we finally got to the fireworks factory.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really lengthy conversation with Nairman a week or two ago, where I just said to him like, yeah, after watching Dragon Ball Super for an extended period of time now, I've been watching it since the Goku Black arc finished. I only watched a little bits of it here and there before Goku Black. Like Dragon Ball Dragon Ball GT, just come back. All is forgiven. I'm sorry we ever said mean things about you. It's it's much better than Dragon Ball Super.
I'm still of the opinion that GT has plenty of good ideas, just poor execution.
Yeah. But it has like I mean if you hold up GT next to Super, GT has by far a better standard of animation. Let's just put that on the table right now.
In terms of overall, yes.
Overall, in terms of like just animation quality and character, and like there are some wonky character designs. I suppose like your Vegeta with a mustache, mustache. Yes, there's definitely some questionable character designs, but in terms of just the way the actual quality and the way that they're drawn looks far more Dragon Ballish than like the really cheap sort of shitty way that they draw everything in Super.
So I love when like it was like 2 weeks ago when Goku fought Golden Frieza for like a brief instant before the episode ended. They did a pic of that episode versus when they did the actual Frieza stuff.
Yeah,
the retread of the movie, and it's like, wow, this is the same series.
Yeah, I think they actually put extra effort into that shot just to really like put in like the ideas like, but no, we've changed, but no, it's still terrible animation quality overall, really, and it just. It hurts my soul to watch it, and I think that like at least GT, like as dumb as some of those ideas were, like having a character called Baby and things like that, at least like it gave you tangible villains to fight against rather than tournament Goku like fighting a different Goku
Tournament.
then another tournament.
Tournament.
Yeah. Again, well, yeah, we were joking that they would have a tournament. Like once the tournament of power was over and they had to destroy a universe, they have a tournament to decide how long it takes to destroy it and shit like that. I don't fucking know.
Tournament.
So it's just better storytelling, I think. But yeah, better animation, and just come back, GT. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I made fun of Goku's pink fur. I'm sorry the fact that I made fun of the fact that they just generate clothes when they turn to Super Saiyan 4. It's all forgiven.
Now everyone's on my side.
It's kind of like how everyone hated Alien 3. And then when Aliens vs. Predator came out, suddenly Alien 3 didn't look that bad.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
When you see how bad things can really get.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, all right. Well, that'll do it from us for this week. We've ranted incoherently for long enough. Anything else before you want to sign off, Nay?
Nah, not really. We'll probably have new topics soon enough. I mean, the Crash Insane trilogy comes out in a few days at the time of this recording. Yay!
I never played the originals.
Play them.
I played a demo disc that I got with a magazine of Crash. That's as far as I've gone with it.
Wow, you're talking old school there. Demo disc.
Yeah, that's right. Back in those days. All right, guys. Kisses, hugs, belly rubs. We will see all of you very soon.